And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. They help to keep the channel going. If anybody's interested in subscribing to the Patreon channel or to the page through Patreon, please go over to patreon.com and research Engelgeist. Over there, you'll get the daily forecast a day early, and you'll get access to special readings that are only available over there. I'm starting January a little bit early. Well, it feels early to me. It's really mid-month already. And I just finished all the year-longs. But I'm starting these because I'm going to be doing some more mediumship work. And so I need to get some of these knocked out for January so that I don't run into a bottleneck towards the end of the month. Basically, I'm trying to be a little bit ahead of the game. So this is the January forecast for the sign of Capricorn, because the next season that will be starting is Capricorn season. We're not quite there yet. We're still in Sag season. But to honor the Capricorns and their birthday season, which is next coming, I'm starting with the earth signs a little bit early. So this is going to be a broad spectrum reading for anybody with sun, moon, or rising in the sign of Capricorn, right? Or if you have heavily placed planets in Capricorn. And that would mean like probably 3 or more. So, and I'm talking about not only just the main planets, but also the smaller ones like Chiron and what is it? There's Lilith. There's a bunch of different smaller moons and things like that. If any of those, because they can have significant impact too. So if those are in Capricorn, you might want to have your chart done. Then this may apply to you, or some of this may apply to you in some way, shape, or form. Now, because this is broad spectrum and intended for a bunch of people, I say this with all of my readings, and these readings have to be broad spectrum because they're free and they're out there to reach, people. Take what you need and kind of leave the rest. So if some of it makes sense to what's going on in your life right now, great. Utilize it, run with it, use it to the best of your ability. If some of it doesn't make sense, don't freak out. It just means that you might be working on something different at this time. Other planets could be having a bigger effect on you. It could be the houses that your sign is in. So, your rising sign could be in Capricorn, but in the 3rd house, which will be something totally different than, say, what maybe I might be looking at, if that makes sense. So, keeping that in mind, don't be worried if some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Just take what you need and leave the rest. The other thing I will say with any and all of my readings on my channel or on my business page, anything that you're looking at that I call broad spectrum or that is not specifically created for you, I would say be careful as far as making decisions in your own personal life after having watched my videos. Always be aware that those decisions are your own responsibility. So always trust your own intuition and intelligence first and foremost before anything that I may say in any of my readings. And never take what I say over that of a professional in their field, like a doctor or lawyer, maybe a therapist. If they're giving you suggestions, always listen to them first and foremost, just as a safety measure, right? And then also placing your own intelligence and intuition ahead of anything I may say, okay? So you want to use these readings essentially to enhance your experience and support what you already know to be true. That's kind of the purpose. They're not here to make the decisions for you. We want you in the driver's seat, not riding in a passenger's. All right, so let's get into this, guys. Let's see what's going on for the energy of Capricorn. I have shuffled that deck, but I was with the wrong deck because I was talking away. So let's get your signifier card for the month of January. And I've been a little bit weird lately, I gotta say. Yesterday I had no sound on the video for the daily forecast. That's never happened to me in a year of doing these videos. And today I'm shuffling the wrong deck. And I have to say I feel a little bit foggy, to be honest. I think it might have to do with the new moon and the solar eclipse that happened yesterday. It's just sort of weird. But let's see what my Capricorns need to know. Who is their guide for this month, for the month of January 2021? Now, this card can also represent as not only like a guide, it could be a thought or something we want to keep in our perspective throughout the month. It could be something that represents sort of maybe the theme or the lesson for the month. We'll see what comes up, which animal spirit comes up. And I chose this deck. I don't know why. It just popped into my mind. I think that this is going to be for the earth signs only, which will be Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. But We'll see what happens. So this is for the animal spirit or card. This is from the animal messages. And all these decks, you guys, just so you know, if you're interested in any of these decks, they are all in my unboxing videos playlist. So you can always look at that to see a little bit more of the deck if you're interested in it. So this is Spider. It says travel will open up new possibilities and travel will open up new possibilities and one special connection. Interesting. When I think of Spider's all about weaving energy or medicine. Spider, sort of there's a Native American story about Spider having created the alphabet through working with her web. And so there is an intelligence and a wisdom to Spider. Spider's kind of always been that when we talk about opening up new possibilities and one special connection, that could be through forms of communication. Spiders are also extremely patient when they wait to feed themselves. So there could be an element of patience here, or at least that's something that's kind of pulling into my mind as I shuffle these cards for Capricorn. I feel like as I look at this Spider, we are going to get what we need this month. I feel like through patience, well planned out thought, spiders can create very intricate webs. And Capricorn is really good at planning, right? You guys are that wonderful earth energy where you can set forth a plan and create the steps and map it out in a way, kind of like a spider's web, and capture whatever it is that you're seeking. For some of you, I like the idea of the phrase new possibilities or special connections. If some of you are looking for maybe love or looking for, new opportunities, this might be the month to start to put those plans into effect. Through building that web or putting those feelers out there in a way. Spider is also very much that kind of an energy where it sort of senses what's going on in its web, and from those more subtler vibrations within its world or its environment, it can run right directly to where the entrapped meal is, right? Where the benefit is. So Capricorn may be able to utilize that and tap into a little bit more of their own vibratory senses and allow that to help them win. So let's look and see what we've got going on in the cards. All right, so this first card always represents as your center for the month, right? So this tells me a bit about where you guys are going to be at in the center, where you're going to be centered at in your month. You'll go in and out of this card. You won't stay in it the entirety of the month, or that's how I view this position. But it gives me an idea of kind of where you're at most of the month, and also what you could be potentially creating for the future, because whatever we're running in the now kind of affects our future. So let's see what we've got going on. So we have the Eight of Wands. I love this. This was actually in the beginning of this week's forecast. So I like that this is coming out. This might be some of you, maybe Capricorns that watch me. I know of one in specific that watches me regularly on the daily forecast. So this might be some of her energy and why we were seeing this in the daily forecast. But the Eight of Wands is always about sort of fast moving energy, seeing a specific goal and going after it. Wands is about the ability to sort of connect spirit to action, right? So when we're talking about wands, we're talking about that fire elemental. We're talking about that strong desire. We're talking about quick, swift movement. Eights always represent balance to me. What I do love about this card is it's got a darkness to it, but that moon, which is more the subconscious or the deeper self, is talking to us. It's also sort of the prize that this cat is staring at. These wands are like targeted directly towards that moon. Again, we have that sort of more subtle picking up on the vibrations around us or the more subconscious stuff around us in the web of the spider. We're moving towards those new possibilities. We're moving towards that special connection. Eight of Wands, I will say this in regards to special connection, guys. For some of you Capricorns out there, you might have your eye on some sort of a romantic thing. This Eight of Wands could definitely signify a move towards that. It is a very romantic card at times, and it can mean like declarations of love or passion. So keeping that in mind, if some of my Capricorns are feeling the need to express that somewhere outwardly to another individual, that could very well be possible in January for you. Certainly it'll be a focal point for you, or something that you might be working with, maybe trying to muster up the confidence or the ability to do that. It may take you all month. That's why this is your center space, right? Where you're kind of centered in this all month. You might be looking at this. Is now the right time? Do I really trust expressing my feelings or my emotions towards this person, my desire for them, will that pay off? So that might be something I don't feel like you'll wrestle with, but you'll be moving towards thinking about that kind of a thing. And that may only be specifically for some of you. Others of you that are working towards a specific goal, boom, this is like the time to let that desire, that drive, that movement push you forward throughout the entirety of the month. It will be kind of fast moving, not quite as slow or as with this as the center. I feel like it's faster than, say, a Capricorn would normally want to work at. You guys like to plan, but I love that we have this spider energy, which also feels very nimble. And the building of the web feels very planned out for my Capricorns. But coupled with the nimbleness of the spider and the Eight of Wands, they feel like light in vibration, quick, swift. Those kind of words are coming up for me. So if we are feeling like we are moving or desiring to move quickly, go for it, is my feeling. We'll look at the other cards unless there's something that foretells not doing that. I kind of get a good vibe from these two working together, if that makes sense. I also like the spider and the night sky and the Eight of Wands also feel very in line with one another. So I just sort of, that to me feels really cohesive, I guess is a good word. Let's see what the foundation is. The foundation represents a card from the past or a space in the past that opened the doors for us to be, for things to be the way that they are today, right? So it will be this card or the memory of this card that will kind of be what holds everything in place, or could be potentially driving everything forward into the future, the memory of this, all right? So we have the Five of Wands. Again, we have that fiery Wands energy. I will say this, Wands is not, it's obviously not Capricorn's home energy, nor is it complementary, the suit of cups or water. This is something that's more uncharted territory, I would say, with these two cards happening as Wands, right? I like that. I think that it's exciting, it's new, so we want to stay with that too. The Five of Wands always represents sort of fighting, competition. It could be annoyance. We're talking about a period of time in the past, Capricorn, right? If there is something that you guys, I mean, fuck, let's talk about 2020 just for a minute. 2020 was a year of annoyance for everybody, I think. I think we all had our ears full of annoyance, right? This could represent as 2020 for you as a real basic read, but this specifically to me represents a period of time in our lives from the past where we were like, I don't like this anymore. I don't like what's going on around me. I don't like how I'm being treated. I don't like how this feels. This could be people that we love, that we care about, that might be giving us a hard time, mislabeling us, not invalidating us in some way, shape, or form. They don't necessarily mean to. The Five of Wands isn't the most sinister of cards, but it's a pain in the ass, right? And so when I look at this, this feels like in that period of time, or when you were in that period of time, why this would be positioned as the foundation is this is the foundation for the movement that we see in the Eight of Wands. This is the foundation for, okay, I don't want any more of that, whatever that is, whatever that headache is in that Five of Wands. We've been there, we've done that, we've struggled through it, we've gotten beyond it, right? Because it's in our past, but it's also the reminder of that, or the memory of that, where we're like, nope, not going there, not today. And so I like this as your foundation in the sense that it reminds you to like almost, what's the word? Like aspire to something different, to something better versus staying and fighting. Because let me tell you, Capricorn will stick and fight. You know, all the earth signs will. They will stay till the bitter ends. Some of them much longer than they should, right? And so to me, maybe in that Five of Wands energy, you guys sat in something that was a little bit too much of a struggle bus energy for too long. Maybe gave too much of your attention to something that didn't deserve it anymore. And I feel like with the Eight of Wands, we're moving on to something that we're more desirous of, that could potentially give us back the energy with which we put into it. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about it could be anything. It could be a romantic relationship. It could be a job or a new career choice, a new boss, new friendships or relationships within the family. Whatever it is, we're shifting our attention, we're shifting it and our desire to a place that feeds us versus starves us in a way. If that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I keep using these food references between this spider and everything. I might need lunch, but you get my drift, Capricorn. Y'all are smart. I know you can figure it out. All right, so let's see what your spirit card, your soul card, which is above you, what it's having you concentrate on, or what it wants you to work on in the month of January. Oh, I love it. All right. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles. This is Capricornian energy. I mean, this is earth sign element, right? So this is right in line with you. Your spirit is lined up, is my feeling, right out of the gate. Aces always bring newness, change, excitement, opportunities. And Ace of Pentacles would always represent as a fucking yes, excuse my language. But to me, it is an affirmative yes at the highest and most exciting way, right? When I look at this particular art of this card, I always feel like this cat is rolling this pentacle out of the way to open up that door to something new, right? We always see this mountain range in the background, or in this card, there's this mountain range in the background, which means Capricorn knows that there's going to be work involved, but work has never scared you all off. You guys can endure so much, and you constantly do. You're kind of like the unbreakable backbone. I see the earth signs, especially Capricorn and Taurus, as the unbreakable backbone of the zodiac, right? You guys always can take in the big work and ground it, make it happen, and see it through to the end. And that's sort of the opportunity that we see here in this Ace of Pentacles. With this Eight of Wands, to me, I love how we have this big gold coin and we have this big moon here. They're sort of similar to one another, right? Spirit has something for us, and I don't mean spirit as our guides and stuff. What I want to say is our own spirit has something set up for us that is far more than we even understand for ourselves, maybe. Because when I'm looking at this moon in this Eight of Wands, this to me looks like our subconscious, our spiritual side, or whatever sort of talking to us, or what we're deciphering through it, right? How we're interpreting it through, say, maybe our mind, our ego, and our actions. But what we have here up in the soul space is so much bigger, golden, and in line with us than we actually understand. It's like we could be surprised in maybe, say, either by the end of the month or in the months to come, because I feel like this is like only the beginning, right? Aces are new beginnings, certainly. And so this is only like us opening the door to maybe a year to come that might be very pleasant and abundant for us. So let's see what's going on in the outside influences. So these next two cards, I call the outside influences. I look at them because I want to know what's affecting you either positively or negatively from outside. So this gives us two sort of ideas of what we need to be aware of during the month. These can represent as people, sometimes events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that we don't even know that don't belong to us. It could be something that was taught to us from our family, right? That's what I mean by a belief system, where it was taught to us, and it's like information they inherited from their grandparents or wherever that we've lived by and taken it as the gospel, but we've never really tested it, or it may not be in line with us. So it really is, it may feel like us, but it's not necessarily us. Does that make sense? So this is why I look at these things, to make us aware. Okay, so this is Capricorn's card. This is the devil. I love the darkness, I will say this, and it is Capricorn. This card is Major Arcana, and it's represented by Capricorn. Y'all never make lessons easy for you guys, right? You guys, like I said, there's an endurance. There's also this factor in that Five of Wands that I was picking up on about staying in something far too long. There's also like a deprecation or flagellation that goes with the devil, I feel like. And the devil represents sort of where we're stuck, where our Achilles heel is, where we need to be shown what we need to know, or what we need to sort of conquer, or get beyond, in a way, right? The devil to me is not a negative card. It's always a card that's going to show us our weakest points. When I look at this as an outside influence, it says to me, will there be challenges this month for Capricorn? Yes. Will these challenges help us? Ultimately, yes, because the devil is Capricorn energy. So it's going to like forge you through the fire, or through the lessons, or through the experiences of January in such a way that it's going to like exalt you, or make you all the more aware or knowledgeable of who you are, or what you're worth, what you're capable of. Could this be through stressful situations, hard-won lessons, that sort of thing? Yes, right? Because the devil's like, to me, I don't want you guys to fear the devil, right? But I also don't want I don't want to minimize the devil's impact on our experience. The fact that it is your card from the Major Arcana speaks to a positive though. So I will say that. So I think that whatever could be coming your way, I mean, this could be something, and I'm just using this as an example, but when I look at that Five of Wands down there in the past, this Devil card, let's say that Five of Wands in the past is we have problems within the family. Right? We've been maybe fighting with family for years. We're tired of dealing with it. We want to move away. We want to get away to something that like serves us better. That's the Eight of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles is up there working about the idea of new beginnings and operating from that place. The Devil would be representative of some big brouhaha happening amongst the family where you cannot deny it. You cannot get away from it. You are going to have to face it, Capricorn. You may have to deal with it, but the fact that it's Devil card, Capricornian energy, you will be successful. Will it be easy? Maybe not. Will it hurt? Maybe. Will it make you a better person in the long run and establish boundaries or guidelines or ultimately make you stronger? Yes. So what I would say is embrace whatever things that come at you this month that might seem challenging in big ways. If you find yourself challenged in stuff that you're like, oh, I'm trying to get away from this, let it come, because it's going to teach you, and it's going to teach you something that's going to be probably powerful for you. This is right now, besides that Ace of Pentacles, we're looking at this Devil. This is your most powerful card so far. It's coming from the outside source, and it wants to bring you, it's going to show you where you're weak. And to me, Capricorns hate being weak, right? That's like the antithesis of how I see Capricorn. So ultimately, this is for your betterment, even if it means that you have to sweat some, I don't know, frustration or maybe pain or whatever. But like, let's be honest, Capricorn, y'all are represented by the Devil. You know pain, you know frustration, you know all of that stuff. You kind of dance with that all of the time. And that's that staying in things longer than need be or longer than maybe healthy, right? So let's go to the other outside influence and look at that. So we have the Nine of Wands. Again, we're back to that Wands energy, again, about spiritual drive, desire, taking action. To me, the Nine of Wands is not a bad card. Nines are about personal completions. This really feels like, as I'm looking at all of this stuff, especially with the Devil on the other side, and we have the Five of Wands below as our past, this is where we are trying to really make action or movement towards something that better suits us. So, and this will be applied wherever you see yourself as making these changes, right? So you have to figure out, is it career? Is it love? What is it that we're moving towards, or what is it that we're working towards? Now, with this Nine of Wands, to me, it feels like, it almost feels like we're taking down a fence, or like when I'm looking at that cat with that, he has that tail wrapped around that one fence post that he's pulling out. A lot of times it's putting in the last piece, right? Coming to that personal completion and being done, sort of as the design, but I feel like he's taking that down. There could be opportunities for us to take down any last minute boundaries, or I don't want to say boundaries, though that's not the right word, barriers for us in regards to something that has been holding us back. That's my feeling with this Nine of Wands. Like, even though we have that Devil on the other side, to me, I feel like we're taking down blockages. We're taking down not faults, but and not failures. The Devil is more about our fears, our anxieties, he's going to play on that energy, right? This Nine of Wands speaks to me about finding completion through removing any of the barriers that exist within our world, right? Where are our triggers, or where are our buttons that people may be able to tap in and push from time to time? And they've done that to us. We see that reflected here in the Five of Wands. So I feel like ultimately, this could be a challenging month, but I feel like it's like what I hear in my head right now is pshaw, I'm a Capricorn. In essence, you guys know torture, or you know how to suffer in a way. I don't see you guys as suffering. I see you guys as meeting the challenge and being and part of the reason why I say this is this spider is nimble, right? Delicate, sensitive, to everything that's going on around it, even the fragility of the web, right? And we're talking about opening up new possibilities and possibly one special connection. I feel like that one special connection, if it's not a person outside of yourself, it will be the special connection to our own self and our awareness through that devil card, right? I also feel like there is a positivity in that Ace of Pentacles and in that Eight of Wands as your center, that no matter what the challenge, Capricorn will see it through. Lord knows in that Five of Wands, you guys have dealt with enough bullshit leading up to this point that what's a little more bullshit, right? Even if it's coming from the devil, even if it's a little bit more hot, a little bit more intense, a little bit more emotional, it's going to be outside of yourself, right? And it will be coming up to like challenge you. But the opportunity also here lies in that Nine of Wands, where we're removing the old triggers, we're removing the old limitations or hindrances that maybe would have held us in place or have held us in place in the past. And that's the vibe that I'm getting from this Nine of Wands. And that's offering you a sense of personal completion and the ability to sort of maybe take this Eight of Wands energy and actually move to whatever that is in that Ace of Pentacles that your spirit is holding for you guys. And it's really good in there. And I'll say this, that devil is only getting us prepared for it, right? That's the thing. It's like we need to kind of face any last minute what's the word, like untied or unfinished business, that sort of a thing. That stuff might rise up this month to show us where we need to, tidy up or something, you know what I'm saying? So that we're better prepared for what's to come within that Ace of Pentacles energy. I do feel there's a definite transition happening here in January for you guys. All right, so let's go to the final outcomes card. This card is not set in stone. I will always say that. This is the future card. It tells us where sort of things are going to turn out for the majority of the Capricorns that watch this video by month's end. It is not set in stone though. So if it's a negative outcome, we can take it into account now and use it as a warning to make choices and changes through free will to affect the outcome, right? But if this card is beneficial, we can take heart in the fact that we're sort of naturally heading towards it, and that, we don't have to do much other than continue to sort of face things head on, certainly with that devil card, continue towards that forward movement and that desire that we see in that Eight of Wands, keeping the hope alive in that from deep within through that Ace of Pentacles, and removing any border, like any sort of boundaries, limitations, things that no longer serve us through that Nine of Wands energy that's coming at us. Or those opportunities through events that could be events where we're able to no longer react, right? That could be that Nine of Wands energy to me. It's going to be to our benefit. So this is the Knave of Wands. So it feels like with all of this Wands energy with my Capricorns this month, plus we have the heat of the devil, right? Which is Capricorn's card, but it's like the only card that's got like all this fire and flames, which coincides with all of this Wands energy. Being the element of fire, we have the Knave of Wands. And to me, the Knave is all about positive sort of experiences. It can be about learning, right? The Knave of Wands, Knaves are youthful and enthusiastic, optimistic. There's an ability to learn here. I feel like there's actually maybe an opportunity to feel playful by the month's end. I always get this sense of playfulness. To me, sometimes this cat feels like he's planting that wand into the ground. Sometimes he feels like he's scratching it. That to me is what this feels like to me. It feels more like scratching. There's a point where we can relax and breathe. Is what I'm feeling with this Knave of Wands. Knaves sometimes bring messages with them. That could be the new connections or possibilities that are opening up to us. We may have an awareness of that by the end of the month, right? There's always this sort of, I feel like this Wands energy, whatever we're exploring through the month of January, right? We see it in the 8, we see it, we're already in it a little bit in the 5 in the past. We certainly have the 9 working in our favor. I feel like we're still continuing to learn by month's end, or something has been taught to us. That's also the sort of the education of the Knaves, right? We may not necessarily feel completely, what's the word, like adept at what we're doing, but I feel like there's a joy here, or there's an excitement with this Knave where we're not like pressed by it all, right? We're not freaked out by it. I feel like the Capricorns will feel like moving into, say, February, that there's a newness and excitement, a goal to be reached. We certainly see that. I feel that in that Ace of Pentacles up in the spirit space too. we're still running that energy. We're more apt to learn, more desirous of learning, more optimistic about outcomes, more hopefully able to dwell in the, the opportunity or the idea of possibility, right? Versus, a lack of options, right? And that's maybe where you guys have been. That could be some of that Five of Wands energy that's from the past, is maybe there haven't been options open and available to you. And to me, it feels like things with the new year might be opening that up for you guys. And so stay keyed into that, let that be your guide. That's also that spider energy too, of letting that be your aspiration for the month and your opportunity for the month, and working towards that, keeping that as your focus, training that on your focus, because it's going to become more real by the month's end with that knave, because the knave wants to learn, right? He sees it and needs to learn how to get there, and wants to do it by taking action and maybe learning in the moment, but still. And that to me isn't necessarily a Capricornian trait. You guys probably would feel more comfortable if it was more grounded and sort of established. But this is part of being, I kind of feel like I want to say this is part of being exposed to this Wands energy, which is not necessarily your natural state, nor is it your complementary state or element. So therefore, but we're willing to do it. And by month's end, we're actually excited and willing to be taught and to be like almost forged in the fire. We see that fire certainly in that Devil card. So I hope that makes sense for my Capricorns. That is your forecast. That way, y'all are perfect for Cancer. Oh, you're funny, Grant. All right, so that is your forecast, guys, for the month of January. I hope that it makes sense. As I said, if it doesn't, that's okay. Nothing's wrong. Take what you need and leave the rest. I feel like this is a good month for you guys, even though we see that Devil there. I think that Devil being Capricorn's card and also being the most powerful card in that reading speaks to the challenges that, if there are challenges, the challenges that lie ahead are going to be for your own well-being. And although they may present challenging to you, trust them and lean into them and let them sort of show you who you are and what you're made of. You got this, Capricorn. All right, thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up. Share the video with any other Capricorns you may know. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the business page. If you want your own particular, your own individual reading done for you personally, you can always message me at the business page. Ask any questions. I can do a monthly read for you or read on any subject. Those are always available. And I can answer questions about pricing and all of that. And that is your forecast. I look forward to seeing you guys again in February. All right, take care and have a good January, you guys. Bye-bye.